Tips and predictions today of round 2. Let's have a go through all my footy tipping last week. And how ordinary do I have to make do I have to do a punishment? Because remember, if I don't get at least half my tips right this week, I would have been So just need to sign in. Keep signing in. Next. Just bear with me here. I'm just need to sign in to my AFL. Tipping it, go away. So, last week I got 5 tips right, so it means I avoid doing a punishment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've just avoided a punishment this week, so please put those punishments down below in this video or in the West Indies video when that comes out, because I don't want to do a punishment, but it's kind of the thing. So Carlton defeated Richmond on, let's have a look at last week's games. So I'm yet to get Cardi Mel things. I'm doing my best and fairest. Unfortunately, no viewer input, but next year I have yet to be organised for that, so I will get viewer input by next year. So Carlton won a very scrappy affair at the MCG on Thursday. Friday, well, this was a shitstorm. Well, pardon my language, but this was awful. I was trying to watch the Matildas, and this was a garbage game. And between Essendon and Hawthorn, this was Hawthorn winning, smacking the Bombers, so it should be. Western Bulldogs, well, this was a big smashing. I was expecting this one to be much closer, but the Doggies played quite out. Bontempelli went berserk. Then, the frustration point of the week for me was this when I was working during this game. Freo Geelong, not good, 10 points. Justin only put his foot on, and I'm not going to repeat him because it's going to be awful. Sydney smashed Brisbane. Then I was at the pub watching this game. Collingwood Adelaide. It was a very good win for the Crows. It means they'll be able to head back to Adelaide with a win under their belts. Then this was surprising. North Melbourne beating poor Adelaide. Yep, North actually looked good, and I'm very scared about what they're going to be able to achieve. This was a classic at the G. Melbourne and St Kilda. The shame there wasn't much people at the ground, but St Kilda now 0-2, and they're looking like a horse. And Gold Coast Suns West Coast, yeah, we don't need to talk about that. So, let's head to the Thursday match. So, Hawthorn v Sydney. Well, this should be a cracker. Both teams currently got a win under their belts last week, and this is probably going to be one of the better Thursday games of the year, I think. Hawthorn are coming off a very good win coming off a very good win against the mighty T Bombers, and I reckon the Swans. Well, they've lost. They did a very good win over Goulden, but they lost Errol Goulden, so that kind of screws them over partly for the most of the year. So, my prediction. Well, this should be a good game. And I reckon the Swans will just beat the Hawks. It'll be a thriller. It'll be a 3-point margin. Yeah, I've said. So I'm tipping Sydney by 3 points. So yeah, I'm logging my tips in as the video goes on. So anyway, let's get to game 2. Adelaide versus the Dogs at Adelaide Oval. First game at Adelaide for season 1 of the 2 games at Adelaide for the week. Well, the Crows were very good against the Pies. That game was shit to start with. Crows got better as the game went on. Doggies are now 2-0, smacking Brisbane and just being the reigning premiers. It should be a very good game. I seriously think the Dogs, this should be another good game. I reckon the Crows are going to win because, yeah, Adelaide have been awesome. So I'm going to tip the Crows. It's about 5 points. Big call from the Sydney game. I forgot to do that. Big call. Quick 4. Big call for the Crows game. I reckon Tex will kick free. Tex has been on. He's due back. Now Richmond versus Gold Coast. Well, I'm afraid to say Gold Coast have got very easy to start the season after smacking the crap out of the West Coast Eagles, and then unexpected smacking the crap out of Geelong. Well, this could be ugly. I'm going to go the safe option here. I reckon the Suns will knock over the line. The Tigers, so they're teaming the Suns. 35 points. Ben King will kick it back. Kick it back to 4, like he did against the Eagles. Now, teams who have been undelivering for me for the footy team this year. Yeah. GS St Kilda. Well, St Kilda have let me down quite a bit this week, and Giants have been shit. They beat the Hawks, but then got smacked the crap out of the Doggies. But I yet don't know who I'm going to tip, to be honest with you. Saints have been good and have been in games. Giants got smacked out of the water against the Dogs. So I reckon Kilda are going to win. I'm going to go with I'm going to go the Saints are going to win it. Net by 14 points, and big call is, this involves Cardman, who I appreciate the man. He's done well. I'm yet to see his Melbourne vlog. I'm rather don't want to see it. It's probably going to be angry. And gonna check if I'm going to check if he's posted so I reckon Saints winning. Now, Freo versus Melbourne, first game at Perth Stadium for the year. Yeah, Asia Cup. We should have had a game here in Perth last week, because Optus Stadium was available. But fuck you, AFC, Asian Football Federation, for not allowing WA sides to play, because this gives them a significant disadvantage, particularly for a West Coast Eagles side, which I'll mention later. So this should be a good game. For Melbourne were on fire against the Saints. I was expecting it to be a crap game, but it was good. It's got me a very good, nice and tight contest. It's nice. Remember, it's a delayed telecast. Yes, home game for Fremantle, but it's a delayed telecast because it's on flaming Saturday. I reckon the Dockers are going to do it. It's my team. I love them. I reckon the Dockers will beat the Demons by 30 points, and my big call is Murphy Breed, who's professionally called the Smurf, will kick 4 and scare the crap out of Lateral Pickett. Now, this game has potential to be very shit. Port Adelaide versus Essendon. Well, both teams were very uninspiring over the weekend. And Port, well, they got smacked by Northside, who wasn't expected. I reckon because it's Essendon, I'm going to tip Port here. I'm tipping Port by 4, and big call is that Essendon, that the bugger all show up to the game. Probably expecting a crowd of 16,000. This is that shit matchup. Now, this is one of the two meetings that I played this year, and both of them in WA. It's the West Coast Eagles taking on the North Melbourne Kangaroos. Well, North Melbourne were quite good against the Power. They started the game like a house on fire. Yeah, and they've got the points and got the chocolates against Power. Eagles will actually look good in patches in second half. They actually looked good against the Gold Coast, but they had too big of a lead to pull back. I reckon this should be a good game. I'm going to tip I'm going to go North Melbourne, because North have a very good history of knocking off the Eagles in WA, as evidenced by the hands over. So I'm going to tip the North Melbourne here by 14 points. Big call is that Sherry will get 40 plus hit out, break the record for the most hit outs in the AFL this weekend. So that's my tips and opinions. Make sure you put your punches down below. And also, I'm going to put something here. I feel quite confident that the Eagles will beat the Kangas. I will sing the Eagles theme song on a Blast Eagles song, full blast, if they beat North Melbourne. and it's the 2020 edition, not the new version. So that's my putting down my punishment. I have to do. So I'm going to sing the Eagles theme song and blast it full blast. If the Eagles win, which is highly unlikely. So yes, thanks for tuning in. I'll be doing. Hope you enjoy it. I shall see you in my West Indies Australia preview. And